Okay, so this will be the second part. When I ran out of time on the previous one, and I was going to tell you about how to format the axis titles, and actually we're going to make sure we fix the sig figs and everything on our graph. And every time I click over here, I keep clicking on these grid lines. So I'll tell you what I want you to do is click on a vertical set of grid lines and just delete it. Delete the grid lines just like that. And then click on the horizontal ones and delete those too. Just hit the delete button. And now you have just kind of a blank slate still there. Okay, so inside your chart area, you're clicking in your chart, go up to Format and over to Design, and over to the far left there's Add a Chart Element. If you click that, you can put axis titles. And so I'll do our vertical axis here, primary vertical axis, like that. And you can have it positioned this way, or you can actually have it positioned another way. So you can actually change it where you can make it turn horizontal or vertically set. I don't really care for the most part. But this was density, and it was in grams per centimeter cubed. I'm going to just put centimeter 3 for now, and I'll see if we can go back and format that. Actually, I can do grams per milliliter, and I don't have to do that. It's the same thing. So just put grams per milliliter, because that's what we put in our table. So that actually be better. So that's our unit. So we put what our our variable was, and the unit that it was measured in. And now look at all of our data points here. Most of them are only to 2 decimal places. So I need to fix my axis here, the numbers, so that they are to 2 decimal places. So I click on that axis, and it box in the numbers. And if you right click, Format Axis is at the bottom of that. So go down to Format Axis, and it'll bring up your Format Axis tab, and then scroll down to the very bottom, and mine might be difficult to see just because of my screen, but there's one down there that says number, and then once you click on number, you can change your number of decimal places, and I'm going to change mine to 2, and then that should format that now to 2 decimal places. So that part's good. The next thing is I want you to format it to the right font. So while I have it selected, I'm going to go to my Home tab up here, at the top of the page, and I'm going to click Times New Roman 12-point font. And I'm going to do the same thing with my axis title that I made. Times New Roman 12-point font. Okay, now I'm back at my graph here. I needed to fix my x-axis, or my concentration. So now I'll just click on this area, and I'll go back to that Design tab, Add Chart Element, this time the horizontal axis, and this is the concentration of NaCl, and the unit was percent by mass, or weight. And those are all here, and they're all 1 decimal place. So I'm going to select my x-axis, right click on it, Format Axis, scroll all the way down to my number button down there, maybe. I want the number of decimal places to be 1 for that, and that got it. And then I'll just close that part off and go back to my Home tab and format the font as Times New Roman 12 and format this font also as Times New Roman 12. So there you have that part. You have a title for your graph, you have the axis labeled on both X and Y, and you have the units on each one, and you also have the decimal places fixed for what you had in your data. And then you need to add a trend line to this. So I'm just going to kind of scoot my graph over just a little for the time being. And the way you do this is you select your data. Don't connect the dots, that's wrong. But when you have it selected, you right click, and there'll be a function, should be, that says add trend line, and that's what you want to pick. And it should have linear selected. If it doesn't, for your trend line options, make sure you pick it as linear. And then scroll down, and then there's two things I want you to click. One is display the equation, and the other is to display the R-squared correlation coefficient on the chart. So now you have an equation for that, and I'm going to now we're going to change the Y to what it really is, density. So I'm going to select the Y in the equation and type out the word density, and then I'm going to change the X to concentration, and since I'm multiplying by it, I'm going to put parentheses around it and type out, I'll just abbreviate concentration, CONC period. And then my slope here is 0.008. My y-intercept is 1.0051. For now, I will not worry about that too much, but actually what I want you to do, just for practice, is to make that 3 decimal places. So I'm going to click behind it and back it up to, round it to the 3rd decimal place. That was a 1, so it's going to stay a 5. The R-squared is just tells me how well my points fit the line. If it's a positively sloped line like this one, the closer that value is to the +1, then the better those points fit. If it was a negatively sloped line, perfect would be a -1. So that's not half bad for made up data. So yours should be a lot better than that, I believe. But now you have an equation for that, and then I'm just going to select that data and change it to Times New Roman 12-point font. And then you might have to adjust it just a little so you can actually see it. Now this will be something that you can, your actual calibration curve can be printed off as part of your stuff and put into your lab notebook. So we're going to use that formula, that equation, a little bit later. So I'm just going to kind of scoot it off to the side again just for now, and we'll come back to it when we get our other numbers.